Hi, and welcome to another episode of David Rides a Trike. I'm David, I'm riding a trike. I try to provide a little motivation to people with chronic illnesses and disabilities to find some fun form of outdoor exercise, because doing so can be both therapeutic and usually turns out to be a lot of fun. Personally, I fall into both the chronically ill and disabled categories. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was a year and a half old, although I had a pancreas transplant when I was 41 years old that technically cured me of the diabetes. I've also had 2 kidney transplants, so 3 transplants in total. I've had stage 3 cancer. I'm legally blind. I've had all kinds of infections, skin cancers. The list goes on and on and on. Now, today, you may have noticed the title of this is a Recumbent Rant. And that's because I'm going to do a little rant because I'm angry, and I'm going to do it while riding my trike. A few days ago, I heard someone referred to as a cancer survivor. And I hate that term, a cancer survivor. To explain, let me go back in time somewhat. When I was a little kid, I used to get into a lot of fights. Yes, fist fights, actual fist fights with other kids. And as I got older, and I took a PhD course in self-diagnosing abnormal behavioral patterns in oneself that I found on the cover of a matchbook. I came to the conclusion that I got into those fights when I was a kid because I felt different. I was a diabetic. I knew from very, very early on that I was different. Part of me didn't work. I actually knew specifically it was an organ called the pancreas in me that didn't work. Consequently, I think to kind of overcompensate for that, I got into a lot of fights to prove that I was okay. As I said, that's my own self-diagnosis, but I've got a feeling it's not far from the real truth. Jump forward several more years, and I'm in my early 20s, and I'm studying and training in Shotokan Karate and Taekwondo. On your left, and I am doing so not because I am trying to get better at fighting. I'm doing it because at this point in my life, my right eye is pretty near at the end of its useful life. And I asked my ophthalmologist, is there anything I can do to help strengthen some sort of depth perception in my remaining left eye? And he said he's heard and read that martial arts can be helpful. So I enrolled in these classes. Now, as it turned out, this was right around the time in my life when other parts of my body began breaking down. I was diagnosed with kidney failure. My diabetes, my blood sugar control was completely out of control, and I was having a lot of medical breakdowns. Fast forward again to the year 2013. I have just received my second kidney transplant. It's the 4th of July of that year, very early in the morning, and I wake up with a horrendous stomach ache, a really sharp pain in my lower abdomen. I keep hoping it'll get better, but it keeps getting worse. Long story short, I end up in the ER with a complete bowel blockage. They pump my stomach and they tell me I'm going to have surgery. And because at this point I have a total of 4, yes, count them, 4 kidneys in me and 2 pancreases, the surgery is a little bit more complicated than on someone else. So I have to be given a ride in an ambulance up to the University of Wisconsin, my transplant center. But as I was lying in that ambulance, I kept thinking, I'm in this fight. I'm going to win this. It's a battle. And I realized I had been doing that through all these other medical traumas in my life. And I'd gotten to the point where I was treating each one like a fight. This is where my new fighting was being done. So I had that surgery and all was well. But then a year later, in the summer of 2014, I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. I was told that this was going to require surgery. They were going to remove a sizable chunk of my colon, and then I was going to have chemo. And again, mentally, I started preparing for a fight. So I had the surgery, started chemo. During chemo, I ended up having an acute rejection episode of my transplanted pancreas that had to be treated. And then they had to find the balance between the chemo and my anti-rejection drugs. And the whole time, I felt like I was fighting. So, fast forward once more to the end of all of that, and I'm cancer-free. And I've been cancer-free ever since. So, when I hear the term cancer survivor, to me, survivor implies that you just barely made it out alive. Merriam-Webster defines survive as to remain alive or in existence. And to that I call bullshit. You see, when you come out on the other side after having had cancer and having fought this battle, you have won. You didn't merely survive. Is it a horrible analogy? Let's look at the Rocky movies. In Rocky 1, Rocky survived. He didn't win, he survived. In Rocky 2, he won. And there is a big, big difference. And that's how I feel about cancer. If you've had cancer and you're still alive, you've beaten it. You haven't simply survived. As I said, surviving implies barely making it out. Now, granted, in reality, it's the doctors, the nurses, all the technical aides, and medical professionals who are doing the fighting. But mentally, you've been fighting. And you have to. It's the only way to get through these things. Man, talk about fighting. I'm going up a steep climb. I always forget that this one is here. So, personally, I feel that I beat cancer. Of course, there's a possibility that cancer will come back again and bite me again. If so, I've got another fight on my hands. Same with any of you who have been through it. And we all know one day we're going to face a battle that we cannot win. I accept that, and I think everybody else realizes it's coming. But to say someone is a cancer survivor, I think is doing them a disservice. They are a winner. They've beaten cancer. Cancer lost, you won. End of story. Okay, end of my rant. That's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. I really am anxious to hear your thoughts on this, so please put them down below in the comments section. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, all that stuff. Share this video with anyone you think it might do a little good. Is that English? Well, you get my point. So yeah, that's it, and I will see you on the next ride. Bye-bye.